Hello, and what's up guys, it's me your girl CatCorelli, and this is episode 261 of my Cat Vibes series. Today, I'm painting, well, a double portrait, or rather a 1.5 portrait. Okay, let's call it a double portrait, because this is my oldest friend, Natalia Golovanova is her name. She's an artist, like myself, and she lives where I come from. She lives in Moscow. I miss her a lot. So I decided to paint a portrait of her with her cat, with one of her cats. She's an artist too, and I will put her handle, her Instagram handle, in the description to this video so that you can go and check out her works. I think she's a wonderful artist, and I love her a lot. Well, she's my friend. She's one of my most beloved friends. As for the painting, I decided to kind of change up my approach a little bit. I think in the past I've been somewhat intimidated with larger formats. This is not a large format though, objectively. It's relatively small, at least for a portrait. But I think I've been fairly intimidated in the past by anything larger than 8 by 8 or 10 by 10 inches. I gotta say that in the span of this last year, as I was painting, I've discovered that, I've changed quite a bit, and I've built up that confidence to move on to larger formats. I kind of like it. I kind of even feel more comfortable nowadays painting larger formats. Small little miniatures are still fine for some studies and experiments and this kind of thing, but I kind of really like it when I can just grab a larger brush and paint larger shapes and then trickle down to smaller details, and to paint as many details as I feel comfortable doing. Because sometimes I don't really want to paint everything. I want to paint more details within the focal point, within the focal range, and a lot less details outside of that area. I find it really important to constantly push the boundaries and to expand into unknown territory, into uncomfortable territory. Roughly a year ago, I painted a portrait of my niece, and that was the first portrait that I've painted in oils. And looking back at that, well, I like to think that there is a lot of difference between what I do nowadays and my first attempt at an oil portrait. All of this time, I was trying to put myself in, with every new painting, I was trying to put myself into a rather uncomfortable situation, and I was trying to intimidate myself. In this case, particularly, I don't necessarily think that this is a very good reference photo, but I like the composition, I like the lighting, I like the expression on my friend's face. I like that there is not just her, but there's also the cat. And I just think it's a very cozy scene. Now, the challenge for me here was that I wanted to capture the vibe, of course, as per usual. I wanted to capture the vibe of the scene. But also, there is a lot of things that I used to think of as difficult. And before I went into this portrait, I thought on this for a while, for maybe a couple of weeks, and I was kind of mentally preparing myself to go there. But then one day I just picked up this canvas. I was done with the previous painting, and I thought, okay, today we're just going to start somewhere. And I'm just going to keep moving, and I'm going to paint fast. I'm not going to drag. I'm not going to sit on every brush stroke. I'm just going to go and paint, and I'm going to paint it with a method. I'm going to move from larger shapes to smaller shapes. I'm going to carefully but freely explore the values. I'm going to be enthusiastic with the color range, and I'm just gonna paint freely, really loose. So I've given myself this assignment, let's put it this way. I've given myself this assignment to paint freely and quickly. And I think it kind of worked out that way. I don't know if you can categorize this painting as a painting in the genre of realism. I think it is realism, probably. It's not hyper-realism, definitely. One thing that I remind myself of quite often is that a painting should be a painting. If I talked about this before, I think, in my view, a painting that looks rather like a photograph, I don't really see much sense in doing that. The painting should be a painting. So it should have the brush strokes, it should have texture, it should have an element of raw texture to it. And most importantly, when working on a painting, it should bring joy. The process should bring joy. If it's rather tedious and if it's rather, I don't know, if it rather weighs on me, I start to feel like it probably is a little too contrived. I want it to be poetic. And I want that poetic, joyful feeling, the enjoyment of the process to kind of seep into the colors, to seep into the surface of the painting and stay there. That's what I'm trying to get at. And I really believe that that's kind of how it works. It's kind of like with recording music. It's a recording of a performance, so I pay a lot of attention to setting my mind right and being in the right mood to go and record vocals for something. They have to have, all the right things in place. Every line in a song requires a certain approach. You can't just, sing it all helter-skelter, because words have different vowels and they sound different and they have different meanings, and some of them have layers of meanings. So it's really important to be in the right mindset. Same here. So I strongly believe that in order to accomplish this fluidity and freedom in every brush stroke, it is important to set the mind right before getting into a painting. And one of the most important things, I think, is not to think of it as of a difficult task. I think it's more helpful to perceive it as, hey, we're going to have some fun. We're going to paint a painting. It's my friend. It's my old friend. I love her very much. I really, really love her so much. My good old friend. And her cat. And I wanted to paint her portrait. So, I wanted to have fun. This aspect of having fun when creating something, I think that's one of the most crucial aspects of creation. It's really important. If it's not enjoyed in the process, it won't result in an enjoyable end result, I think. Ultimately, it's not even about the end result, it's about the process altogether. So, here's the painting. I had to do a couple of corrections in the end. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. The album, Geno Arcanum, is coming out on April 1st as planned. So be ready for it. And you will hear me and you will see me on the next episode. Maybe you will see me, maybe you won't. I think most likely you will just hear me. Thank you for being with me on the channel. I appreciate y'all, I love y'all, and you will hear me on the next episode. Now.